Hello students, this is my first video for class 8 and in this video of ours we are going to learn about the cell. Cell is the basic structural unit of life, structural as well as functional, because this is the main basic structure which is present in all living things, and this is the functional structure which is performing all the functions of life, whether it is digestion, circulation, excretion, transportation, reproduction. Even one cell can perform all the functions, because in unicellular organisms they are having only one cell in their body and they are performing all these life processes. So cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. All living things are made up of cells. So cells, then the group of cells form the tissues, tissues form organ form organ systems, and organ systems combinedly form the individual. These are the different organizational levels which we will study. But first of all, let us see what is cell. The smallest unit of life. If you want to find out the smallest thing which is present in a living being, it is the cell. And cell is basic, structural and functional unit of living organisms. New cells arise from pre-existing cells, because when everybody's body is made starting from one cell only, and that is zygote. So when there is sexual reproduction, there is union of male gamete and female gamete, and this after fertilization the zygote is formed, and this zygote is the first cell for all living organisms who are going on in who are performing sexual reproduction. Even our body, which is now having trillions and trillions of cells, had started from one cell, and that one cell was zygote. So this zygote, it will keep on dividing. This is mitosis, cell division, and by division the new cells arise from the pre-existing cells. So the new cells are continuously being formed in our body from the pre-existing cells. And all organisms are composed of one or more cells. There can be only one cell in the organism body, or there can be many cells. If there is one cell, it is unicellular. If there are many cells, it is called multicellular organism. So these things which we have discussed just now, they are also called cell theory. So cell theory discovered cells. Robert Hooke was the first cell. Now Robert Hooke was the first scientist to discover existence of cells with the help of a microscope, and this was in 1965. He observed thin slices of cork. What is a cork? Cork is a bark of the tree, the dry stem of the tree, and that cork, when he was observing it under the microscope, he saw that the structure of the cork is like honeycomb structure, like the hive of the bee. It is having different compartments. So similarly, this structure was also having different compartments, and the slices of cork appear like small components which were further separated by a wall. So small components he was able to see under the microscope, and every compartment was separated by a wall. So this is how the cell was discovered by Robert Hooke, and he saw these compartments in thin slices of cork. Now, variation in cell number, shape and sizes. Cell numbers are different in different organisms, and depending on the number of cells, on the basis of number of cells, living organisms can be classified into two categories: unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular are the organisms, living organisms, which are consisting of only one cell. That means their body is formed of only one cell. Example, amoeba, euglena, paramecium, chlamydomonas, yeast. So these are all organisms which are having only one cell in their body. That's why they are called unicellular. Then there is another category depending on the number of cells, and that is multicellular. Now, multicellular organisms consist of more than one cell. Examples: human being, cow, cat, lion, elephant, earthworm, all insects, all are having multicellular bodies. That means their body is consisting of more than one cell. Now, if we see the shape of the shape of the cell also differ in different organisms. The shape of the cell differ not only in different organisms, but also in different organs of the same organism. For example, the cells of our body are not same. The shape of the cells of our body throughout is not same. The shape differs in different. The blood cells are different in shape. Nerve cells are different in shape. Epithelial cells are different in shape. So even in one organism, you will find variation in the shapes of the cell. So there is a lot many variation found in the shape of the cell, and it is not same even in one organism. Not only in different organisms might be having different shapes, but even in one organism, the shapes of the cells differ. And the size again is different. There is a large variety of cell size. The difference in size of organisms is due to the number of cells present in them. Everything. But in bacteria, you will find minute cells. One cell, very small cell, and that is performing all the functions. So there is difference in the cell size also. The smallest cell is the PPLO. What is PPLO? Pleuropneumonia-like organism. And they are called mycoplasma. Mycoplasma are having the smallest cell, and the size is about 0.1 micron in diameter. So the smallest cell is called mycoplasma, PPLO, and it is of 0.1 micro, about, not exactly. The largest cell is the egg of ostrich. Egg of ostrich. Ostrich is a bird. The egg of ostrich is 170 mm in diameter, and that is the largest cell which is being discovered till now. So the largest cell is ostrich egg, and the smaller egg you can see with your naked eye. Like even the chick hen egg, that is also one cell. You can see it with it is very big. So that is also one cell. So the cell can be very big, it can be seen by the naked eye, or the cell can be very small, which requires microscopes to observe them. So the size is that much different of different cells. Different parts which are present in the cell. So the outermost covering of the cell is called the cell membrane. And this cell membrane is the door, like you are having doors in your house, windows which are keeping control on incoming and outgoing of the people. So similarly in cell also, everything which is present inside, the macromolecules, the organelles, they are covered by a membrane, and this membrane is called plasma membrane. Outer membrane of cell that controls the entry and exit of substances according to the requirement of cell. If the cell requires, because cell membrane is permeable, semi-permeable. Permeable means it is entering, giving entry to all the substances. And semi-permeable means it is giving entry to only few substances. And selectively permeable is that it is giving entry to only selective substances. So most of the advanced cells, they are selectively permeable. They permit only the substances which are required by the cell. So this is the function of the plasma membrane. It is covering the whole cell. Then there is a cell wall. It provides, now cell wall is present in plants. In plant cell, you will find a cell wall above the cell membrane. In animal cells, the cell wall is not present. Only the cell membrane is present. But in case of plants, you will find cell wall on a cell membrane to provide rigidity. Rigidity means they are not flexible. Their shape is constant. Their cell wall is rigid. Animal cells are having flexibility. The plant cells are rigid because of the presence of cell wall, and it supports and protects the cells. What is the function of cell wall? It is protecting the cell and it is supporting the cell. It is also giving the shape, because the shape is permanent shape of plant cell. They cannot change the shape of their cell because of the cell wall. It is found in plants. In plants, the cell wall is mostly made up of cellulose. Then there are fungi also which are having cell wall. Bacteria are also having cell wall. But in fungi and bacteria, the chemical nature of the cell wall may be different. Whereas the plants, they are having cell wall made up of cellulose. And it surrounds the plasma membrane. So the plasma membrane is there, cell membrane, and on top of that you will find the cell wall. So cell wall is surrounding the plasma membrane. Now cytoplasm. What is cytoplasm? Inside the membrane, inside the plasma membrane, there is a gel-like substance which is present all over the cell, and that is called cytoplasm. The portion of the protoplasm lying inner to the cell membrane but outside the nuclear membrane. See, this is the nucleus. So nucleus is having nucleoplasm. So the gel-like material which is present inside the nucleus is not called cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is between the nucleus and the cell membrane. So what is present between the after the nucleus and the cell membrane is called the cytoplasm. It comprises of gel-like substance that fills the inside of the cell. So it is present all over the cell, jelly-like substance, nucleus is present, and after nucleus all over the cell you will find cytoplasm. And this cytoplasm, many organelles, all organelles are present in the cytoplasm. And heredity material is chromosomes which are present inside the nucleus. Now nucleus. Nucleus is separated from cytoplasm by nuclear membrane. So the plasma membrane and there is nucleus. Nucleus is a spherical body which is present in the cell. And in animal cells, most of the animal cells, it is present in the center of the cell. And this is a spherical body. Now this spherical body is called nucleus. Now this nucleus is also having a covering all over it, and that is called nuclear membrane. Now inside that nuclear membrane, you will find the genetic material, that is chromosome. And the chromosome is consisting of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. And it is, nucleus is the controlling organelle of the cell. All cell functions are controlled by nucleus. So nucleus is the controlling authority. It is directing all the cell activities of the cell. Nuclear membrane. As I told you that nucleus is also surrounded by a membrane, and that is called nuclear membrane. Now, this nuclear membrane is double layer structure, outer nuclear membrane and inner nuclear membrane. So it is made up of two layers, and its opening are also present, which are called nucleopores, and these pores are allowing material to enter the nucleus and leave the nucleus. So the things are coming into the nucleus from the cytoplasm, and substances are going out to the cytoplasm from the nucleus through these pores. Chromosomes. Now, chromosomes are present inside the nucleus. These are the genetic material, hereditary material, and they are made up of DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and they are responsible for the inheritance of characters from one generation to another. Now, chromosomes are responsible for all the characters what you are having. Whatever the characters you are having, your height, color of the skin, color of the hair, color of the eye, your intelligence, your everything depends on what genes are you having. And these genes you have acquired from your parents, from your mother as well as from your father. So your genetic material is a combination of genetic material of your mother and your father. So what are you? What characteristics are you exhibiting? What characteristics are you showing? That all characteristics you have inherited from your parents. So this is the genes are present, and these genes are on the chromosomes, and these chromosomes are responsible for the inheritance of characters from one generation to another generation. Organelles, there are different components which are present inside the cell, and these are called cell organelles. Now, these cell organelles will be found only in the eukaryotic cells. There are two types of cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. In prokaryotic cells such as bacteria cell is prokaryotic. So in bacteria, you will not find nucleus and you will not find any cell organelle. There you will find the cytoplasm and the genetic material scattered inside the cell only. You will not find any nucleus or you will not find any cell organelles. So that is the difference between prokaryotic cell and eukaryotic cell. But if the cell is eukaryotic, you will find the nucleus and other cell organelles also. So let's study about the cell organelles, what all cell organelles are present. First of all is the plastids. Plastids are large organelles and they are characteristics of plant cell. They are present only in the plant cells because they are having the pigments, the green pigments, chlorophyll, which is required for the photosynthesis. So chloroplast provide the green color. The green color of the leaves is because of the chloroplast, and they are the kitchen, the manufacturing plant of the plant. Because in plant, where is the kitchen? The kitchen is in the leaf. So leaves are having chloroplast and they are having these green pigments, and these green pigments are chlorophyll, which are required for the process of photosynthesis. And there are chromoplast also for providing color other than green color. Like you must have seen in crotons, the leaf is having yellow color also, red color also, orange color also. So all these different colors of the plant are because of the chromoplast. Chromoplast is giving other colors to the plant. Mitochondria. Now, mitochondria is also having the two layers, membranes. So it is covered by the two membranes. They are rod shaped or spherical. In most of the cases, they are rod shaped, and they are responsible for cellular respiration. Because when we are, what is respiration? Respiration is we are breathing, we are inhaling oxygen rich air, and we are exhaling carbon dioxide rich air, and that oxygen is sent to the each and every cell of our body for cellular respiration. So inside each and every cell of our body, this oxygen is required to oxidize the food molecule, that is glucose, and that gives the energy for our body for various activities. So we are getting our energy from food, but food cannot give us energy until and unless it is oxidized. And that oxidation is taking place in each and every cell, which is called cellular respiration. And that cellular respiration is taking place in mitochondria. And mitochondria is then producing the energy and for various activities. That's why mitochondria is also called powerhouse of the cell, because this is the organelles where oxidation is taking place, where enzymes which are responsible for the oxidation are present. So this is the site for the cellular respiration. That's why it is called powerhouse of the cell. And it is controlling the level of water and other materials also of the cell, and it is recycling and decomposing proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Major function of mitochondria is it is a site for cellular respiration. That's why it is called powerhouse of the cell. Endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membranes. Pipes are there, many pipes are there, small pipes in the cell, and they are called endoplasmic reticulum. And they are the skeletal framework for the cell, and at the same time, they are responsible for the transportation of materials from here to there. So it is a network of membranes. It provides a skeletal framework to the cell, and the materials move around the cell through these endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum is a pipe-like structure which are present all over the cell. Then there are ribosomes. Now ribosomes contain, each cell contains thousands of ribosomes, and ribosomes are the sites for protein synthesis. So protein is synthesized here in the ribosome, and it is present in the cytoplasm, and it is floating. It is a circular body, and it keeps on floating throughout the cell, small circular body, and is a site for protein synthesis. Body is a sac-like structure which are stacked one above the another. That means one sac-like, second, third, fourth, they are stacked one over the other, and they are basically to store the material. So whatever material is present in the cell, they are storing that material which are produced by the cell. So they are called a storehouse of the cell. Like in your house, you must be having some store with the kitchen or somewhere else where you are storing your things. Similarly, in cell, the storehouse is Golgi complex, where the cell is storing all its material. Now, vacuoles are empty spaces in the cytoplasm. Vacuoles are the empty spaces which are present in the cytoplasm. Empty spaces are, what are they doing? They are storing the waste material, they are storing the water, there are food vacuoles also. So these vacuoles are just to keep some substances inside them. So they are the empty spaces which are present in the cytoplasm. They are to store the things. And in amoeba, the food vacuoles are present, and they are responsible for the creation of the food. Then cilia and flagella. For example, if you observe the paramecium under the microscope, you will see cilia all over its body. One cell and all over its body. See, what are cilia? Cilia are hair-like, which are the extensions of the cell membrane. So cilia are present, and these cilia are helping in the movement, locomotion. They are also helping in the collection of food, because movement of the cilia is responsible for sending the food into the opening. And then they have flagella, like euglena. Euglena is having flagellum. So flagellum is a long thread-like structure, and that is also helping in the locomotion. So they are small extensions on their cell membrane. They help in locomotion and collection of food. Paramecium have numerous cilia you will find many cilia all over the cell membrane, and Euglena has single flagellum. Now see the structure. This is the structure of paramecium. So these are the cilia. You will find cilia all over the body. This is paramecium and it is made up of one cell. So it is unicellular organism, and you will find these hair-like projections all over the membrane. These are cilia. So this cilia is helping in the locomotion. At the same time, these cilia, they are sending the water here inside this opening so that the food can also get into the cell. Now this is Euglena. Now, if you see the cell of the Euglena, it is also made up of one cell, unicellular. This Euglena is having only one flagellum. This is flagellum, a long thread-like structure. Only one flagellum is present, and this flagellum is helping in the locomotion. So this is Euglena and this is paramecium. Both are unicellular organisms. We'll see what are the cell types. Like as I told you, there are two different types of cells, prokaryotic and eukaryotic. In prokaryotic means primitive. In Greek, this is a Greek word, pro, which means primitive, and karyon means nucleus. So that means before the formation of nucleus, nucleus is not formed and the cell is not having nucleus. That cell is called prokaryotic. No nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles like mitochondria or chloroplast. What are the examples of prokaryotes? Bacteria. All bacteria, they come in this prokaryotic. Blue-green algae. So bacteria, all bacteria, they come in this prokaryotic because they all are having prokaryotic cells. They are reproducing asexually by budding or fission, and this is the first type of cell on the earth because this is a primitive cell, and after that the cell was evolved, the complex cell which is eukaryotic, that came into existence. So this is prokaryotic. Now what is eukaryotic? Eukaryotic in Greek, eu means true. So true nucleus is present. That is called eukaryotic. After the formation of nucleus, where the true nucleus is present, that is called eukaryotic. And eukaryotic, true nucleus is present, membrane-bound organelles are present, and all other organisms except bacteria and blue-green algae, all are having eukaryotic cells. And here the cell size is bigger than the prokaryotic because prokaryotic cells are primitive and they are small in size. If you see, this is the difference. See, this is a prokaryotic cell where you cannot find any nucleus, any organelle, no mitochondria, no plasmaculum, no Golgi complex, nothing. Only the cytoplasm is there, and you will find the genetic material which is present scattered in the cell. You can find out the genetic material at one place. Now this is eukaryotic, where you can find the cell, you can find the organelles, and true nucleus is present. So this is the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Organelles of the cell. Let's see how a typical animal cell looks like. This is a typical animal cells. As I told you, the cells vary. Their sizes are different, their shapes are different, and as per their function, their organelles may be more in number, less in number, like mitochondria. We have many mitochondria in our muscle cells because our muscles are working very hard. So they want more energy. So you will find more mitochondria in muscle cells. So every cell is peculiar, every cell is special, and you will find different shape, different sizes. But if you want to study a typical animal cell, it is like that. This is a plasma membrane. Here you will not find the cell wall because this is an animal cell. This is the nucleus. And inside the nucleus, you will find chromosomes, that is the genetic material. And between the nucleus and the plasma membrane, this all yellow portion is cytoplasm. And then you will find these pipe-like structures, the network, which is called endoplasmic reticulum, and these are mitochondria. Then these are the stacked bodies, that is Golgi complex. Then these are lysosomes. Lysosomes are another structure in our cells which are also called suicidal beds, because they are containing certain chemicals, certain enzymes which can kill the cell. So what happens when the cell is in distress, or the conditions are not conducive for the cell, and the cell is not able to cope up with the conditions? Then in those conditions, this lysosome bursts open, the enzymes come out, and it will digest the cell. So that's why they are called suicidal bags of the cell. Then these are the ribosomes. These are the vacuoles. You will find vacuoles. These vacuoles, different vacuoles are present, small, big. In animal cell, you will find many vacuoles and small in number, small in size. Whereas in plant cell, you will find few vacuoles, but they are bigger in size. We will study about the difference in the animal cell and plant cell. So this is a typical animal cell. A typical animal cell looks like this. Now this is the cross section of a animal cell. You will come to know about different this thing. See, this is the membrane, cell membrane. These are lysosomes. This is nucleus. Inside the nucleus also you will find a spherical body which is called nucleolus. So this is nucleolus. This is nuclear membrane. And this is endoplasmic reticulum. Now endoplasmic reticulum is of two types: rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic. Smooth means no ribosomes are present on it, and rough means ribosomes are present on the surface of the endoplasmic reticulum. So the endoplasmic reticulum where ribosomes are present, that endoplasmic reticulum is called rough endoplasmic reticulum. And the endoplasmic reticulum where ribosomes are not present, that is called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And this is Golgi body. These are mitochondria. These are centrosome. Centrosome is helping in the division of the cell. When the cell divides, this centrosome are sending the spindle fibers, and on that the chromosomes move. So this centrosome is helping in the division of the cell. This is vacuole. Vacuoles are present, small vacuoles, big vacuoles, and this is cytoplasm. So this is the cross section of an animal cell. A typical plant cell. A typical plant cell, how it looks like? It looks like this. The shape will be fixed because it is covered by a cell wall, and this cell wall is giving it rigidity. So the shape is fixed. It is not flexible like animal cell. Then inside the cell wall, you will find cell membrane. This is the cell membrane. And then this is a big vacuole. So this big vacuole is present in the plant cell. And because of this vacuole, the nucleus is not in the center. Nucleus is at the side. So this is nucleus. In the animal cell, the nucleus was in the center. But here, because of this big vacuole, the nucleus is at the side. This is nucleolus. This is nuclear membrane. Then rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth means no ribosomes. Rough means ribosomes are present. Then these are mitochondria. These are mitochondria. Now here you will find another organelle which is not present in the animal cell, and these are these chloroplasts. These are chloroplasts. These plastids are consisting of green pigments, chlorophyll. for the photosynthesis, because animals are not performing photosynthesis. So in animal cell, we won't find chloroplast, but in plant cells, we find chloroplast. These are chloroplasts. So this is the structure of a typical plant cell. Now, if we see the cross section of a plant cell, it looks like this. The cell wall is present, cell membrane is present. This is a big vacuole, nucleolus is there, nuclear membrane is there, mitochondria are present, rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Then you will find ribosomes, Golgi body, and chloroplast, which is present only in the plant cell. A plant cell and animal